One of the big things you've got to learn to understand and get into real estate are terms. So a lot of terms that you'll hear, some of which you'll probably hear today: cap rate, cash on cash return, internal rate of return, debt versus equity. You see, definitions and terms are what people use when quantifying a particular investment opportunity. So let's walk through a couple, because what I want to help you do is get a baseline understanding of certain terms in commercial real estate. The number one term by and far you're going to hear is cap rate. So what is the cap rate? The cap rate is the net operating income divided by the amount invested into the asset. So it is shown as a percentage. You take the net operating income, which are your what are called above the line expenses, doesn't include debt. Your cap rate, your net operating income divided by the total amount you've got invested. So if your net operating income is $100,000 and invested into the property was $1 million, you would take 100,000 divided by 1 million, and that gets you a cap rate of 10%. Now, this is just a snapshot of how the property is currently performing, because you take it on a today basis. What is the net operating income divided by the amount you would be purchasing the asset for? And then over time, you can project what that cap rate becomes. Maybe you can increase rent. Maybe you can decrease expenses. Maybe the market continues to allow for a smaller cap rate, a compressing cap rate, thus increasing your sales price. And then you've also got cash on cash return. So taking the amount of cash you've invested divided by, again, the amount of cash you are keeping from the deal, that shows you your cash on cash return. Then you've got internal rate of return, similar to cash on cash return, but what internal rate of return does is it considers the amount of time. You see, there's a general principle in real estate that money now, cash generated now, is more valuable than cash generated later. And that's because of inflation. And we are in the middle of an inflation cycle right now. So internal rate of return is an extremely fancy and complicated formula that you can do, but most people cannot do by hand on paper. So Excel has a function for that. There's a equation for that, there's probably an app for that too. And then you've got debt versus equity. Typically, I'll tell you the most common commercial real estate structure. You'll see 70% of the acquisition cost, right? The purchase price, and that can include some development costs or renovation costs, land costs, right? All in costs, let's say 70%. So that leaves 30% worth of an investment in equity. And that's where you start getting into whose capital is it being invested into a property to account for that 30% worth of equity. And you've got general partners, also known as sponsors. And then you've also got limited partners. Those are the people just putting cash in the table to make a return on their investment. A lot of different things to learn, but again, take it in bite-sized chunks. We're excited to have you today to go down this road of multifamily value-add investing. Again, Dante Belmonte, he's going to be on with us shortly. 844-STUDIO-4, that's the phone number. If you've got questions, 844-STUDIO-4. Give us a call. Would love to help answer your real estate questions. Justin Kazepas, Today's Real Talk, todaysrealtalk.com.